Hi, everyone. It's been a little chaotic, but I'm so excited to be here today. My name is Erin Kingsley. I am a lead training content developer for Brivo, a physical access control company. And I'm just thrilled to be here today. I want to thank Elena and Jennifer at 7taps for being amazing people to work with and for having me here. So, I lead a small team of content developers. Let me see if I can get my slides to go. And before I go any further, I want to give a tremendous shout out to my team, Catherine, Harry, and Allie. What I am presenting here today stems from a dedicated team effort that has taken us 2 years. And I am so honored to be speaking on their behalf, but any one of these beautiful humans could have been here today. So thank you, team. I love working with you, and thank you for all the joy you bring to my life, and just the brilliant humans that you are. So I am talking today about how to market your microlearning, and this stems from two primary problems that we were experiencing, and they're probably problems that you all have experienced as well. How to get our content into the right hands at the right time, and how to start a dedicated marketing campaign when we don't have time and we don't have the bandwidth and we don't have people on our team that necessarily come from a marketing background. I would love to hear in the chat. I can't look at it right now, but later I'll look if you all have experienced any issues similar to this. And if you have, good news, I am here for you. What I'm going to be sharing today will help you chip away at that iceberg of getting your content out there and starting to gain momentum on a marketing campaign. So when I talk about marketing today, let's just take a minute to define our keywords. I'm really emphasizing building a relationship between effective content and the learner, meeting them where they are, again, getting that content in the right hands at the right time, and equipping them with the tools they need to get their jobs done. And that might be a little bit different than the sense of the word marketing that you've used in the past, but for me, life is all about relationships and marketing is all about relationships. I just want to help people, and I want to get my content in their hands to help them with their jobs. And so that's really what I'm focusing on today and in my job. So a little bit about our team and what we do. We design internal and external facing content. We need it to be engaging. We need it to be quick to build and update. And we do not use 7taps as our LMS. We have a completely different LMS system. And so we're not enrolling learners into our LMS into 7taps as an LMS. And so that's where we were struggling. Like, how do we get learners to access these courses if we're not enrolling them into the 7taps platform? We need to share the link somehow. We need to share the courses somehow. And how are we going to do that? I'm also going to be talking a lot about product launches today. That's a lot of my use case because I don't know about your companies, but our company, Brivo, has quarterly launches where it's a bundle of new features and updates, and we need to quickly update our content. We need to design new content. We need to teach and equip our sales folks and our support folks. And we need to teach and equip our external folks as well, our partners and our resellers. So we have found that 7taps, of course, is the absolute best tool for us to use to quickly design engaging content that we can design fast and we can get into the right hands. Okay, well, before I go any further, I lost my mouse. Okay, I would like to hear from you all. I don't know if polls are working now, Chris, but if they are, I did have a poll
They
about.
are.
Great. So what do you do to market your microlearning? And remember, by market, I mean just get the word out, build a relationship between your learners and your content. If you can see the poll.
It is up. Should
And if
be
not, that's
available.
fine.
Everybody. Oh, there they go. Now people found it. They found it in the little poll thing over on the side. You got to click the little bar graph. There they go. Now they're flying.
Okay. So yeah, maybe I would love to hear what you do specifically in the chat. Do you have a specific technique or strategy that you have? Do you think about marketing your content at all, especially your microlearning? Maybe you don't do anything. I am all ears.
Okay, and I will live time tell you how things are coming in as it stands right now. We got about 55, 60% that are saying we have no plan. They just improvise. So on the fly, We've got a small percentage, about 10%. They have a cohesive marketing plan. So definitely some area. We got some folks doing it, the little area for opportunity. 20% say they lean on their marketing person. So about 22% do that. And then 16 are being totally honest, which I love. They're just going, we don't do anything.
Great. Great. Well, you all have come to the right place. So yeah, that's really good information to have. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. So where we are headed today, I'm not going to take time to read all of these because I'm really intentional about trying to hit that 15-minute mark on my presentation. And I have my timer going. So I am going to be talking about 4 primary aspects of marketing your microlearning: branding, placement, outreach, and metrics. And you'll see that a lot of my tips today fall under that placement umbrella or bucket, if you will, because so much of it is just telling people, just sharing your message over and over and over. And that's really how you get them to engage with the material and remember that it's there in the first place. So I do have 10. I couldn't fit my 9 and 10. And I have an exploding cat here because my team and I, we always try to include cats as like hidden little elements in our courses. And so like, what's better than an exploding cat? And also I think that 7TAPS is the only conference where I could get away with putting this on my slides. So pretty excited, embrace the
Not only
exploding
get
cat.
away with it, but be celebrated for
Yeah,
it. You will
exactly.
absolutely be celebrated for
No
it.
one questions why I have an exploding cat on my slides. Like, it just makes sense at this conference. So that's what I love about this conference. Okay, so are you ready? Here we go. Tip number 1, brand your microlearning. So we have branded our 7TAPS courses Brivo Bites. They are bite-sized learning that our learners know that they can take in just a minute or two. This snappy title generates buzz. It makes it cognitively sticky. It has now become our #1 most requested content. In fact, just today, before this session, I had 2 new requests come in. Kay, can you create me a bite? So people are always asking for bites. And if we have a bite and a course, both in the LMS, like 2 different iterations of the same content, our bite course will be accessed 3 times more than the same content that is like a Rise or a Storyline course in our LMS. So it's pretty remarkable how popular our bites are. Number 2, multi-home your micro-learning. Put it in as many different places as possible. So as I mentioned before, we do have an outside LMS where we hold our e-learning courses, mostly Storyline and Rise. And we have also brought in our 7TAPS courses. We distinguish them visually with the orange tiles and the little clock with the lightning bolt. And at first we were nervous about this because, that's just a lot more files to maintain. But bonus, when you update a 7TAPS course in 7TAPS and you have loaded it to your LMS as an XAPI file, it automatically updates. It is like magic that the 7TAPS people have worked out. And when we found this out, we're like, well, this is something we can do. Remember, we're a team of 4 and we don't have a lot of bandwidth on our team. And so the fact that you can like set it and forget it, remember that old, yeah, I'm aging myself here. You can set it and forget it. You could put it in the LMS and you know it's going to update. That makes it so much easier to multi-home your content. Tip number 3, bookmark in your company communication tool. Now, this is probably a no-brainer, but when you take all 10 of my tips together, it really does create a cohesive strategy that will move the needle on learner engagement with your micro-learning. So if you have anything like Slack, just stick it in and you have like a channel, like a learning and development channel, stick it in your bookmarks and just remind people over and over, here's the link, it will never change. Bonus tip, put all of your 7TAPS courses into one folder. Therefore, you will only have one link to share. This is another no-brainer, but props to Jennifer at 7TAPS for reminding our team that we don't have to create a million different folders. We can create one folder and then put subfolders. And I'll talk about subfolders in just a minute, but then there's one link to share, and that just simplify whenever you can, right? So if you have one link to share, then it just makes it that much easier to get your content into your learners' hands. Tip number 4, share externally 6 to 20 times. Did you know that you need to repeat something 6 to 20 times before someone will remember? Did you know, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to repeat that 6 to 20 times, but If you feel like you're a broken record and you are just reminding people over and over, hey, do you know about our Brivo Bites? Do you know about our microlearning? Do you know about our 7 taps, whatever you want to call them? And you say it over and over again, well, that's a good thing because it's sticking in their mind and they might actually remember and engage with your content. So we have created this slide and we have partnered with other departments at Brivo and we say, hey, whenever you're doing any kind of external event that is slide based, will you pop this slide in, please? And all you have to say is, remember, we have Brivo Bites. They are really quick, bite sized learning. We give them the link, we give them the QR code, and therefore this shares the load because our team doesn't have to be in every single training event. We just ask the facilitator of the training to show this one brief slide, and that's all they have to do. Check out our Brivo Bites, and we say it over and over 6 to 20 times. So this is one of my favorite tactics and strategies. I hope that you will try it and let me know how it's working for you. Tip number 5, harness the power of subfolders. So I mentioned before that we have found it useful to have one cohesive bucket or folder of 7 taps. So you have one link to share with folks. But if you use that technique and you use that strategy, you will find that you start to have a lot of different folders. And so it might feel a little bit messy. Well, you can remind your learners to use the search feature at the top, like we've said here at the text, use the search feature at the top to search by keyword. And you can also create a launch folder, or maybe if your company doesn't do launches and you're not supporting them with your training quite in this way, you can like have an updates or like latest releases or our newest content. And you can remind learners when you go into our Bites folder, take a look at that launches or updates. And that's where all of our latest content will be. And it's just another cognitively sticky reminder that you are updating these things all the time. Therefore, it's useful content for them to access. Tip number 6, use linking and branching. So linking and branching is an aspect of 7 taps that you probably have already found out on your own, but we use it as a way to tunnel our learners more into our learning. So here's an example I'm showing you on the screen of one of our bites where we're talking about Brivo Security Suite. And then we say, for more information, check this other bite out. And then they'll click on it and they'll start to go down this beautiful rabbit hole of learning on their own. And so that is yet another way that we are getting our other bites into learners' hands, and we're reminding them of how many we have and how much we support their understanding because we have such a wide panoply of bites. Tip 7, embed in internal training. So just like with the external training, what I mentioned before, we also asked to include a slide in all of our internal training events. So here's an example of one of our recent slides where in an internal training event, we we showed this slide and we're like, here's a link to every single bite. And so sales and support people could access this slideshow anytime and could just get updated on the content because all of the bites are connected to that new feature right there. You have the link. Tip 8, share in your internals team sync. So my team and I, we hop onto sales calls every month and we ask for 1 minute and we show them a couple slides and we show them our newest content. We emphasize our bites, we reshare that link, and we ask them to share in turn with their resellers and partners. Bonus tip, we follow this up with a Slack channel update. Now, we know that not everyone reads Slack regularly, which is why we pair this with trying to talk to someone face to face or multiple someones in a meeting, and then also sharing this on Slack after. So it's like a 1-2 punch. And yeah, we found it to be very useful in getting the word out about our bites. Tip 9, use microlearning to address frequently asked questions. So when you're talking to anyone in a different department, you can say, hey, do you have a question that you get over and over again? If so, let me turn it into a bite for you. So next time you get it, all you have to do is share that link. This shows that you are there to support other people, that your training is quick, that it responds to needs in your company, and that you're solving real problems in your organization. And finally, tip 10, you have to have some kind of metric strategy if you're going to have any kind of training strategy. And so here are 3 of our metrics that you can read for yourself that we have designed for our microlearning program. And I am proud to report that we have hit every single one of these metrics so far. Our bites are just exploding. We are so excited about how excited everyone else is about our microlearning content. So here is a QR code for you to scan, and you can see 3 example bites that we have created recently. One is an overall launch bite, one goes over a specific feature, and then the other one is a question, a frequently asked question and a process bite. So take a look at those if you'd like. And thank you so much. I think I'm right at the 15 minutes.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Erin. Like, and not only like the fact that you also were watching your time, you managed to get through it. Everybody has been so incredible at being flexible and all this stuff. So thank you so much. Can we get a huge round of applause for Erin and her fantastic presentation on how to do this? I know we're short on time, but one of the things that I really appreciated about what you shared with this, especially from a marketing standpoint, is just one, that reminder that we think that, oh, I told people, so they must know. And you're like, it doesn't work that way. You have to hit them over and over and from different angles and different channels and all that stuff. You can't just assume, well, it went in the corporate newsletter, so everybody should know that by now. And that's really important. And I think one of the other ones that, especially to L&D folks, is a really important reminder. I love how you talk about the way you go, we're putting it wherever we can. Sometimes there's this idea of like, how do we create the one place
Yeah,
everything is?
places.
Yeah. And it's like, in theory, that sounds really great, but in
Yeah.
practice, that's not how anything works. Like, imagine if you told people, we're going to create the one iPhone app that
Mhm.
everybody's going to have. It's just not practical. And so it's not about how do we force everybody into where we are or where we want them, but how do we take what we have and meet them where they are and not get too hung up on like, well, okay, you found it over here, you found it over there, while threading that needle of not just forgetting where you put it. And then you're like, uh-oh, like, is that even the right stuff?
Right.
I love that. I love that. So let me see, because there was a couple questions I want to at least touch on this. So, oh, here's a really good one. So a difference, do you see a difference between creating, or similarities and differences between creating like an engaging micro learning where you're trying to like develop something versus like a social media post? How do you differentiate? And are there some key things that you think about, or is there a lot of overlap?
How do I differentiate when I'm creating the
Like if you're
content?
building a micro learning, are there different principles or different ways you think about how you do it versus if you're going, hey, this is a social media post?
Yeah, I mean, they're fundamentally different
Okay.
mediums. And so
Yeah.
there's a lot of adult learning theory that would go into, for example, a microtaps course, than if you were creating one post that was highly visual in Instagram, for example.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
they're just different animals.
Okay. Well, and I think really the takeaway from what you said right there is that it's so easy to just go, how do we just take what we have and then kind of like spew it across multiple channels instead of recognizing these are different channels, they serve different purposes. So
Right.
let's figure out what is our desired outcome and then reverse engineer what do we need to do to accomplish that outcome on that medium instead
Yeah.
of just going, hey, we have it, let's just kind of like place it everywhere and expect the same result. Is that a
Yeah, or
fair?
just like throwing your content out there without analyzing the gaps first or understanding your audience or like all of that initial foundational work that you need to do.